It's taken 4 long years of faith, a continued desire to pen radical shapes, creative engineering solutions, and the means to live outside of the conventional automotive landscape. Finally, Lamborghini's latest creation is ready to attack the track. The Lamborghini Huracán. The machine takes its name from a Spanish Conde de la Patilla fighting bull, but it traces its lineage back to a single machine, the best-selling Italian supercar ever made, the Lamborghini Gallardo. During a 10-year production run, 14,022 Gallardos are sold. To equal the machine's success, the Huracán banks on its Italian heritage.
I think the fact that the Huracán follows the Gallardo so closely in its styling tells us that it was just time for a replacement. It was clear to the company that this was a successful business model, and it was a successful product for the company as a whole.
Today, the Huracán is a 610 horsepower V10 beast.
It's all about the theater. You know, you flip up a little cover to hit a start button, and then the car starts and it's loud enough to wake your neighbors up a block and a half away. Every single piece of that car is hexagonal, and it's just over the top.
It's not often anymore that you get a V10 engine. They're pretty rare. So it's really special when you do find one.
The 5.2-liter engine generates 412 foot-pounds of torque.
They've updated it substantially from the Gallardo. It makes a ton of power. And one of the coolest things they've done is they've made it sound cool.
That sound is a unique Italian tune.
Part of the charm and part of the theater is the noise and the revs.
V10 engines inherently just generally don't sound that great, but you know, the Italians couldn't put out a car that sounded bad, and they've really tuned this one to make it sound like a race car.
The Huracán not only sounds like a race car, but it accelerates like one too. Going 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 2.5 seconds. Just 3 times longer than an F-18 jet fighter to 100 kph.
Launch control is pretty brutal on this car. It actually physically hurts. It feels like you got kicked in the chest by a mule.
It will, you know, smack you in the back of the head and launch you down the street before you even knew what happened.
Continue to keep the throttle wide open and the machine will rocket from 0 to 200 kilometers per hour in just 9.9 seconds. An eighth the speed of a bullet fired from a gun.
And the Huracán really carries on that lineage of making it a sports car. This time they really got serious about track performance, about making this car go around a turn faster. And they've added all this technology to it.
That technology helps the machine hit a top speed of 325 kilometers per hour.
It's a car that they've designed to be more of a sports car and go out and actually go around corners quickly and, you know, really be fun to drive.
The machine's ultra-low power-to-weight ratio of 2.3 kilograms per horsepower helps it slice and dice in the twisties.
The Huracán is so easy to drive that any novice could go in and get on a racetrack and not have any problem.
We want to have the driver in charge and not the car. What we want is that you are feeling at home immediately, that it fits like a glove, that it's not the car dominating you.
That home features state-of-the-art shock absorbers that adjust the suspension in fractions of a second to give the best traction possible.
these special shock absorbers and these gyroscopes and all these computer programs with the goal of making this car faster around a racetrack and around a winding road.
The Huracán features magnetorheological dampers. The cutting-edge shock absorbers contain tiny metal particles in the synthetic oil. When voltage is applied, the particles generate a magnetic field, which adaptively changes the amount of rebound the shock experiences. The end result is an infinitely adjustable suspension system.
They really want this to be a well-rounded supercar that you really can go out and drive anywhere and be just as much fun to drive as any of the competition.
That competition isn't for everyone. With a base price of 189,000 euros, the Huracán lives in the realm of the ultra-exotic.
Either you're a connoisseur, at least, or you're not following the beaten path there. You're doing something different.
It started with an argument and a passion for greatness. A little over 50 years later, Lamborghini is still chasing the same dream: to build exotic, exclusive, high-performance machines for the ultra-wealthy. Whether they continue to succeed comes down to a single word: Huracán.
Lamborghini got their recipe right with the Gallardo. It's relatively comfortable, doesn't really beat you up, but still gives you enough sound and bouncing around enough to know that you're doing something bad. It hits the right notes.
It's the newest machine from the house of the Raging Bull, and now it faces the ultimate pressure, replacing the best-selling Italian supercar ever built.
We have half a century in our back, and for us, the motto last year was 100 years of innovation in half the time. And I think this is exactly what we have to look forward for the next decades to come.